Happy Friday, Kirk.
Absolutely, you too, Jen. We've made it through Labor Day and we're into the early fall.
And it feels like fall today, for sure.
It does. It does.
It does.
Good.
What's going on this weekend?
Well, this weekend is kind of a transition. One thing, and it's a little out of our area, but not really, the Clay County Fair is going on.
Yes.
If you've never been to a fair, or even if you have, it's a fabulous fair. You should go. I mean, there is something for everybody there.
And I think they have a ton of new food stands this year as well. So, I mean, it'll be tons of family fun. Something different from the lakes to do.
Absolutely.
This
so
weekend should be
go
fun.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Good.
Real estate has been winding down, but still steadily busy. We've
Absolutely.
had 26 closings this week. Let's talk about them.
Yes, yes. And kind of how the numbers fall out is there has been one commercial, which is a storage unit. There were 25 residential. In that, there were 4 land, 12 single-family homes, 3 condos, 1 mobile home, and 5 townhomes. And the townhomes were all at the dwellings,
Yes.
which are up by Indian Hills Golf Course, the brand new development up there.
Yes, and they do have, they're starting their phase 2, so they have units available, I think, for that as well. Still.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're moving quickly.
They really are. They really are.
That place is going quickly. Pending and active contingent is, really the numbers kind of haven't changed. It was 99 last week, 100 this week, 53 pended, 43 is the active contingent. And I found out, I was taking some continuing education this week, and I found out, so everybody's always saying, hey, I saw this on Zillow, blah, blah, blah. And why is it showing on Zillow that it's still active, and on ours, we're like, no, it's active contingent. That thing's been gone for like days. I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, no, it's still listed. Well, Zillow has a different set of rules on when they have to start their transition time.
Right.
So they get to put that it is active longer than we do. They're not on real time.
Right.
So
I think basically Zillow, it requires it to be absolutely pended.
Yeah.
No contingencies, no, getting ready to close.
Yeah.
And that's not really fair to the seller in our eyes, because things fall through.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden it looks like it's off the market.
Yep.
And it's not.
Yep. 100%.
So anyway, we have this discussion quite often. Do not rely on Zillow as the final authority on this, okay?
Yes.
Good.
I was in continuing education, and then I just was like, oh my gosh. So new on the market. So this is, we didn't have a ton this week. It was about 5 new properties, nothing crazy, and a lot of like little, under 300,000, like couple hundred thousand dollar places in like Spirit Lake. So
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of new little investment properties or smaller single family homes
Absolutely.
coming on the market.
Good.
Good.
Something else you said, and I agree with, we should maybe try to give you folks, is what the current properties listed on the 3 major lakes, or on the lakes, I guess I should say in general.
Yeah.
For instance, right now on Westlake, there are 6 properties for sale. 4 single-family homes, 1 a condo, and this happens to be in the harbor, and then there's 1 bare lot on Westlake for sale. So Westlake has, in essence, 6 properties for sale.
And keep in mind that at the time that this was filmed, something could change by the time you view this. So things are constantly changing in real estate. If you do actually want to get the up-to-date and live number, text, call us, whatever.
Sure.
Email us. We're happy to give you the real-time, up-to-date number.
Good.
East Lake, it kind of similar. We've got not a lot. We've got 4, 3 single family, 1 condo, 2 single family, and then 1 of them is a bare lot as well. So some things to choose from, not a ton. And on Big Spirit, there is 1 single family lot.
Yeah.
So
again, it's an amazingly low inventory from a historical standpoint.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Good.
Okay.
Well, let's have a topic. What do you think?
Okay, we're gonna do an uncomfortable one today. I thought let's get uncomfortable since we don't have a lot going on. Let's talk about dual agency.
Absolutely, absolutely. Go ahead and read the definition.
Okay.
That may be the best way to start.
Let's define what dual agency is. So in a dual agency situation, one agent will represent both a buyer and a seller in a transaction. Okay?
Good.
Dual
And
agency, of course.
One small correction on that.
Yeah.
A dual agency is the agency.
Excuse me.
In other words, if Jen has a listing and I bring a buyer, we are still under the dual agency concept.
Yep.
So just so you understand, it's not just Jen brings both the buyer and the seller together. Okay.
Yes, and it's or within house. Yeah, that was my that was my next point.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jumped ahead of my next point.
Yes.
Okay, but with dual agency, there are some rules that apply. So first of all, if a brokerage allows dual agency, Iowa is a state that does allow dual agency. So there are different states in the United States that do not allow it at all. It's not an option. Iowa is one that does allow it, first of all. So if the brokerage does allow dual agency, which most of them around here do, then they have to provide the client with documentation disclosing dual agency, going over what it is, what it means, before they actually engage in it, before they start representing, you know, a buyer and a seller.
In our area here, there's an actual one-page form that describes and discusses dual agency. And the simplest way I can phrase it, and again, I'm going to be real short here, is you kind of have three relationships. You have a buyer exclusive, you have a seller exclusive, and you have a dual agency. Those are basically the three options you have.
Yep.
And with the dual agency, the most important thing is that both sides, buyer and seller, understand that it is in a dual agency situation. And they're, you know, as the saying goes, eyes wide open. You need to know that going in, because there's a potential of a conflict of interest. And
so, and a client has to agree to this. A client has every right to refuse and say, nope, I'm not comfortable with that. And we're happy as a brokerage to say, hey, we'll refer you on, or we'll refer you within house, whatever the situation specifically is.
Absolutely.
The thing that I always tell people when I'm talking to them about dual agency is, if you trust me to list your home, and you trust me to market your home, and you trust me to do everything that it takes to sell the home except physically bring the buyer, it kind of, there's a little bit of a disconnect there. So you trust me all the way up to a certain point. So if you don't trust your realtor, I suggest you certainly find a different one. But if you trust me, there are clear and defined rules, regulations, and standards that are set in place, and practices that we follow here at Stoss Realty that allow us to represent both a buyer and a seller fairly.
Right. And our goal, and I think most realtors' goal, is to be as transparent as you can. You know, everybody needs to know what the situation is, and that's it. The only situation that I've ever run into on a dual agency scenario is if there is a confidential situation with either the buyer or the seller that the other party should not or does not know. And that just needs to be disclosed. You know, you cannot disclose confidential information.
And you shouldn't be disclosing confidential information in any sort of transaction representing your client. So that's where my argument is it's great if I represent you in a dual agency, because I'm not going to share that information anyway.
Absolutely. It just needs to be made clear.
Absolutely. So that's kind of
anyway,
what dual agency is.
I think what we're both saying is, if you have any questions about a dual agency in any way, just call one of us. We'd be more than happy just to have a conversation on the phone, in person, and just explain in whatever detail and whatever questions you might have. It's often used in Iowa because we don't have 1,000 realtors. If you're in Chicago, chances are dual agency isn't a factor. But around here, oftentimes it is. So just give us a call and let us know how we can help you.
And if you want to know real-time, up-to-date housing information, absolutely call or text us as well. Kirk, I hope you get out and enjoy the fair this weekend. I know we're going to try.
Have a great weekend, everybody.